Welcome students. In this video, we're going to take our passenger base and turn it into a dimension drawing. I do want to mention if you're not completely done with a passenger base, you can still get started on your dimension drawing. Remember, Fusion links all your different file types together. So as you change your uh, parts file here or your design file, the drawing will change and update along with it. Also, you can see I got some construction lines on here. I was doing an extra sketch, so I'm going to take my progress bar and pull it back. Right, so again, here's our passenger base. We've got 4 different polygons on it. We've shelled the back. We're going to turn this into a drawing. So I'm going to go over here to my work environment and change it to drawing from design. Over here under the destination, I'm going to change the template to that Spartan Manufacturing template that we've downloaded. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, and we'll let our computer think a bit. Still thinking. There we go. All right, so then remember, as the part comes in, we want to put the front view down in this lower left-hand corner of our paper. We want to look and kind of evaluate as we're placing that front view to make sure it's our best front view. Okay, yours should look like mine does right now. We should have the 4 polygons showing in that front view. That's a good profile of it. The other thing we want is we want this front view big enough that we can put dimensions around it and not have it be cramped. And so right now it's looking a little small. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to change my scale. Instead of 1:1, I'm going to change it to a scale of 2:1. Fusion will just let me type the number 2 in, and it should update. Maybe not. There we go. I think sometimes when I run my screen recorder, like right now, things get a little jinky on here. All right? It's not letting me drag this around. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch it from visible and hidden edges to just visible edges for this one. Okay? What I discovered when I was doing my practice drawing is it's very hard to dimension if we've got the hidden edges turned on because it sometimes wants to pick those with that thin shell. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK. All right, if your computer's working good, you should try and drag this over to this lower left-hand corner. All right, my computer, again, not working good, so I'm going to click OK, and then I'll just bring this down and in. All right, now I want to project a couple of views off here. So I'm going to hit the Project View button next, and I'm going to drag up a top view, and I'm going to drag over a 3D view. All right, then I'll hit Escape to free me from that tool. Now I'm going to double click on this one. I want my 3D view to be shaded in, and I'm also going to make this one a little smaller scale. So I'm going to go 1.5 with my 3D view. All right, now for this one, you'll notice I didn't do a top and a right side view. My right side view is going to look very similar to the top, so I don't think there's much to gain by putting it on there. So instead, I think what I want to do is show the back side of this 3D view to show people that this object is shelled. All right, so to do that, we're going to have to kind of trick the computer a little bit, right? Because Inventor, unfortunately, or I'm sorry, Fusion, unfortunately, doesn't let me just drag a view down here. It's real tough to get it to, like, I can go up here and I can put a backside view, but you can see it's at a different angle, and if I drag it down, that's not very helpful. So we don't want to do that. We'll get rid of that one. All right, so what I need to do is I'm going to come in and I'm actually going to take and put a second base view in here for just temporarily, and then I'm going to delete it. Okay, and so over here you can see my orientation says front. Right, that's the way I oriented that first one. I'm going to click on this drop down menu and I'm going to change it to back. All right. Again, my computer's being kind of weird here. So I'd put your back view down here. Mine's freezing up on me again, so I'm just going to click OK. And I'm going to drag this down this away. And now from that back view, I'm going to go to Project again. And I'm going to project up and over a back view. And now I'm noticing as I put this one up, I've got the rectangle on the upper left-hand side. I'd like to get it so it's like a complete mirrored view of this. So I'm going to say Escape. And this is kind of what making dimension drawings is like sometimes. You got to move things around and do some experimenting before you can actually put your dimensions on. All right, then I'm going to go to rotate. So you might have to do the same thing. All right, so we're going to go to rotate, and I'm going to pick this view. Then I'm going to go to transition. I'm just going to pick an anchor point, and I'm going to flip this. There we go, 180 degrees. All right, we'll say OK. So now I've got the star in the upper left-hand corner. I think this is going to make it look kind of like a mirrored image here. All right, so we're going to go to projected view again. Click on this, and there's that back view that I wanted. All right, so I'm going to delete this view now because I'm done with it. I'm going to grab my pan tool, and I'll drag this back down so I can see what's going on. Then we'll double-click this 3D view that we just put in here. And we're going to make it match the other one. So we're going to shade it in, and we'll do a scale of 1.5. So there I got my front view, my back view. I think that's going to be more valuable to the viewers than a right side view over there. The other thing we should probably do here is save this. So right now it says untitled. I'm going to hit the save icon, and I want to make sure I've got this in the right folder. So right now I'm in my Spartan Manufacturing folder. I want to go to that Practice CAD, right, or wherever you've been saving it. Make sure you know where it is, and it's going to be called Passenger Base Drawing. All right. So next thing we want to do on this drawing, now that we've got our views placed, we've got a file path established, is we want to put some center lines on here. So I'm going to come up to the geometry where it says center mark, and I want to put a center mark on this circle. And remember, when we drew it out, they told us how far it was to the edge, not the center of the circle. That made drawing it difficult. If you've ever taken a woods or a metals class, if you're going to drill a hole, you're always going to dimension it based on the center point of that circle, not the edge. Right? So we want to put that center mark in. Okay, now we can start adding some dimensions to this. We're going to do this a little different. We're going to put our dimensions in kind of one at a time. And the first ones we're going to do are some horizontal or some length dimensions. So I'm going to click this vertical line. I'm going to come over to the other side, and I'll click that vertical line. And then I'm going to drag my cursor up. All right, again, my Screencastify stuff is making my screen jinkety. There is a number here. You're just going to have to trust me. Okay, now I'm going to dimension to the center of that circle. So I'm clicking the edge of the object. I'm going to pick one of these vertical lines, and I'm going to drag my cursor up, and I'll place that dimension. All right, then I'm going to come over here, and I'll do the same thing. I'm going to measure from the edge. I'll drag my cursor up. All right. Now, this time I put my number over here. I don't want the number there. I want it flipped over to this side because I'm going to put another dimension. So I'm going to click Escape to free me from the dimension tool. I'm going to double click on this. This brings me into my dimension editing window. And I guess the tool I need is not there. And so I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go to Flip Arrows. All right, and that'll move. Oh, third time's a charm. We're going to just drag it over here. There we go. All right, now I'm going to come back to my dimensioning tool, and we'll dimension the overall length or left or right size of that square. Okay. So now I want to do the same thing going up and down vertically here. So first thing I'm going to do is the overall height. I will drag that out as far as we possibly can. And we're going to dimension from one horizontal to another. All right. Click Escape. We'll go to move that. So I'm going to flip that dimension to the outside edge. Here's what I needed to do. I didn't get the grip on this one when I drug that 2 to the outside edge. And then we're going to dimension the size of this square. So we've got the location set with this top dimension. The size is set with that bottom. All right, then we'll do the same down here for the triangle. We're going to come from this corner on the triangle to this bottom edge, and I'll drag my dimension out like so. All right, the last dimension we want to put in here is going to be the overall depth of this object. So we'll come up to the top view, and we'll just click on the end to set that depth. All right. So we got a couple other dimensions here that I want you to do some practice with. One thing we don't know right now is we know the location left to right. We don't know the location up and down, and we don't know the size of this circle. So I'm going to go to the dimension tool again. All right. This time I'm going to grab the top edge, this horizontal line, right, and I'll drag my cursor out. All right, so now I've got the location left to right and up and down for the center of that circle. The next thing I want to do is I want to actually dimension the circle by clicking on it, and I'll drag this extension line out. Now, what I noticed when I drug that out is my dimensions are starting to spill over my border lines. So I got to take these 3D views, I'm going to scoot them over a little bit, and then I'm going to come to this main view, and I'm going to drag that over a little bit as well. And so now I've got plenty of room around this thing to add those dimensions. All right. So a couple more we're going to concentrate on here, and then we'll call this good. I want to dimension the radius of this curve, so I'm going to click on the curved edge. I'll drag this. I'm going to go down with my cursor. I'll put it down here. I'm going to click escape again, and this time I'm going to go to right click, and maybe we wanted to double click that one. All right, I'm going to come in my text here now that I've double clicked it, and I'm going to hit the space bar, and then I'm going to type the word TYP. That's an abbreviation for typical. And what that tells viewers is that all of the rounded corners are rounded to the same dimension. Right? Trying to let it move it now. There's my grip I want to grab. All right, so again, I'll drag that so my text is inside the line. Okay, we'll do a couple more things here. We got some angles we want to dimension. So to dimension angles, I'm just going to click on these two intersecting lines, and I can pull my cursor out a little bit. That'll dimension what that angle is. I can do the same thing on the triangle over here. I'm going to click this line and this line, and I can drag my cursor up. So that tells me this is 120. Math people know that a straight line's got an angle of 180. So 120 minus 180 would give me 60 for that inside. All right. And the last thing we probably need to do here is we need to tell how long one of these legs of the triangle are. So I'm going to click that leg, and I'll just drag my cursor over here. So now I've got a height measurement as well. Right, last thing we want to do is just make a little note about the shell, and then we're going to call this thing good. So I'm going to go to text, and I'm going to come down to the bottom here, and I'm going to type in, it's going to be kind of small, I'm going to type in that it's shelled to a wall thickness of, there we go. So I'm going to say wall thickness is I believe it's 0.050. All right, and again, I got text here, but when I come off, it doesn't show up. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to stop my video after I'm done with this, and I will post this finished view so you can see it on the classroom page with all those numbers showing up. This is what we want our dimension drawing to look like once we're finished.